everybody. Good Friday evening to you. It is weather for Weather Geeks time. We have a couple of chances for snow in the forecast. Actual accumulating snow. How about that? What a novelty in this very strange winter of 2022-2023. We're going to look ahead to these chances for snow in this video and talk about where we've been. And where we've been is not very far in the snow department. For the third consecutive Friday, we've registered just a tiny little bit of snow at the Youngstown Warren Airport. Of course, most of us just have bare grounds right now. This melted on contact, these flurries all day. But officially at the airport, 0.1, bringing us to a whopping 0.9 for January, 11.8 inches below the average for the month of January. All right, the next few days are technically, climatologically speaking, the coldest time of the year when you look at long-term averages. Our average highs and lows reach their true bottom over the next 3 or 4 days and then actually start to rise. Very slowly, but they start rising in a few days, beginning the process that will take us all the way to midsummer. This is, climatologically speaking, the coldest time of the year, but it's also the time of the year that we've had our two most historic cold outbreaks in modern history. One in 1985, the other in 1994. We'll talk a little bit about both, but specifically in 1985 on today's date, we were shivering in some very far south latitudes. Check out these low temperatures, all the way down to zero, almost to the panhandle of Florida. Atlanta was below zero, Birmingham below zero, Nashville was in the teens below zero, Chicago, Milwaukee, Green Bay, they were all in the 20s below zero. Locally, we got down to minus 20, officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport. There were some local thermometers that were in the mid-20s below zero, and the warmest temperature, the highest temperature that we saw all day on January 20th, 1985, was 5 below zero. This is what's often called the Reagan inaugural cold outbreak because President Reagan's second inauguration had to be moved indoors. It was simply too cold outside in Washington, D.C., and in most of the country east of the Rockies on today's date back in 1985. I want to talk a little bit about the meteorology behind these historic cold outbreaks, specifically 1994 and 1985, both occurring around the 19th and 20th of January. This is the upper level pattern on January 20th, 1985. Underneath this upper level low, this is where you had the historic cold, but you had all this high pressure up here, all this blocking, all these oranges and yellows. This is a big blocking pattern. You sometimes hear meteorologists talk about blocking patterns, especially in the northern Atlantic. When you have a lot of blocking up here, that tends to divert cold underneath the block into the mainland of the continental United States. There's more than one way to skin a cat. This is one way to get really cold. Here's the other. This is 1994. No blocking. This looks completely different, right? You have no blocking up here, but you have a big ridge over Alaska and along the west coast of the U.S., big, deep trough in the eastern U.S. So like a sliding board, this cold air just shot down the front range of the Rockies, right out of the Arctic region, through the plain states, and made a beeline towards the Midwest and the northeastern U.S. So similar Arctic outbreaks, two fairly different weather patterns overall produced that harsh cold. Getting to be a long time ago now. I remember that 1994 outbreak. I was in high school. We had a lot of time off that month, maybe even too much time off. I remember getting a little bored. We had snow and then cold, and we were off school for a long time, and I remember just running out of things to do at some point. It was just too cold outside to do a whole lot. I remember a lot of frozen pipes. I was a little too young in 1985 to remember that one with any, a lot. I don't have a lot of memories of that cold outbreak in 1985, but certainly that one was one for the record books as well. All right, back here in the present, we have flurries out there this evening. What you see is what you get for the rest of the night. Maybe some candy coatings here and there tonight. Otherwise, no big deal. High pressure pays us a brief visit on Saturday, but this is what we sometimes call a dirty high. In that, sometimes we think of high pressure, clear skies underneath. Well, this time of the year, sometimes high pressure is not strong enough to clear out the low stratocumulus clouds that we see around the Great Lakes. And that'll be the case throughout the course of Saturday. The sky finally clears a little bit Saturday evening, but then the clouds roll back in Sunday morning, and here's our next weather maker. So I think it'll start snowing in most of our TV viewing area by the end of the morning on Sunday. This is a fast-moving, not very strong system, and it's coming during the daylight hours. So, we're going to keep our expectations in check here, but in this kind of benign winter, this will be one of the better chances we've had of at least getting the ground coated. During the course of Sunday, the snow then tapers off as we go towards Sunday evening, leaving us with some flurries into Sunday night and Monday morning. As far as accumulations, we got one model, the graph, that goes a little nuts here. The reason why it falls off a cliff at the end is the graph only runs out to about here. And so because the graph does not run out as far as Monday yet, the current run of it, the line on the graph dives off, so just ignore that. You can see, though, that is an outlier either way, and most of our models are kind of clustered in this zone, 1, 2, 3 inches. Now, I think that's generally the right idea for our television viewing area. I do think there can be some somewhat higher totals a couple of hours to our east, over towards Du Bois, State College, Altoona, Williamsport, places like that. But around our TV viewing area, I think an inch or 2 or 3 will about do it. And most importantly, as far as impacts go on Sunday, this is going to be fairly low impact for a lot of the day. Now, I'm not going to be able to rule out some slick surfaces trying to develop, but when you have snow falling during the daylight hours into air that's around 33, 34, even 32 degrees, it's going to have a hard time sticking unless it's coming down real hard. I can't rule out some pretty good snow rates for a brief period, kind of early to mid-afternoon on Sunday, but I don't think it'll be enough to shove us over a 3-inch threshold. So I think 1 to 3 is a pretty good estimate as far as what to expect with our Sunday system. So roads and travel, low to moderate impacts. Not concerned about power outages. Sorry, kids, I'm not real optimistic about school adjustments for Monday morning. The snow tapers off Sunday evening. Inch or 2 or 3 in the afternoon Sunday probably won't result in a whole lot of adjustments by Monday morning. Now, that may be a different story by midweek. We have an interesting system heading our way that will eventually, I think, bring us rain, but the first thing it'll probably do is bring us a pretty good thump of snow on the front end of this. This would be very late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, just as the buses are running Wednesday morning and a lot of people are heading off to work and school. I think it's going to be snowing at a decent clip. It's not going to snow all day. In fact, the track of this system, this is just one run of one model, but we have pretty good model agreement on the idea here that the track of this brings it so far to the west that it's going to drag in the warm air, and I think the snow is going to change to rain at some point Wednesday. It may take until midday afternoon. If it's faster, it may even occur in the morning. But whatever snow accumulation we see first thing Wednesday morning, and whatever slick travel there is, will be replaced by lots of wet conditions and mud for the rest of the day, because I think this is likely to become a rainmaker for several hours Wednesday afternoon. Could we see a little bit of a flash freeze Wednesday night into Thursday morning? Maybe, because the pretty good shot of cold is coming behind this after a rainy afternoon, it looks like, for Wednesday afternoon. By Thursday morning, we're back to snow flurries, and flurries will stick around through a lot of Thursday and into Friday as the more typical January weather resumes. So 2 shots at accumulating snow in this forecast. One Sunday, another early Wednesday, even though Wednesdays will probably get wiped out by rain before the afternoon is through. Hope you enjoyed tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll see you right back here on Monday.